oversold, he said, to the 9/11 community. It's been grossly exaggerated, and that Stephen Jones and people like yourself who work with them have been infatuated with thermite.
Well, you might say, I would rather say that nanothermite is just one in a whole series of observations and findings. Each of them is in contradiction with the official version of events. And that is true. That is true. I mean, the free fall and the stand down of the Air Force is, and just to mention two, is just as violating the official account. So in that sense, I agree. The nanothermite should be seen in a context. Along with all the other observations, the thermite was used. I mentioned the ionospheres. There's no way that could be explained without the application of thermite. Molten iron was pouring out of the South Tower prior to collapse, and iron melts at 1538 degrees centigrade. Molten iron was observed in the rubble after the collapses. It took 3 months to put out the fires in the rubble.
Who saw the molten iron in the...
I have counted at least 23 witnesses, and there's photographic evidence of that.
Well, I spoke to one of those people who, I spoke to several of those people who it's been suggested of being evidence of that. One is the controlled demolition expert, Mark Loiseau. Another is Professor Hassan Astaneh, who's a structural engineer at Berkeley, California. Both of those have been suggested that they said it. When you actually go to speak to them, they say something else. They saw the rubble afterwards smouldering, and it had been smouldering, and there had been fires below the surface in the rubble. So it hardly suggests that there is molten iron flowing through. And no, I've not found anyone who actually says it.
Well, you should ask NASA then. Did you ask them? Because they flew over.
I've seen the temperature that happens at the high temperatures afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 750 degrees. 6 days after 6 days of showers, it was pouring down, cats and dogs.
And what's under the ground in the debris? Is it material that could burn?
It actually kept on burning for 3 months.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
It took them officially. The fires were extinguished.
Is there any combustible material in the dust, in the debris from the World Trade Center? Do you think any combustible material at all?
Not which can keep on burning for 3 months. You need oxygen. You need oxygen to do that.
Yeah.
And there were eruptions of strange chemicals coming out on specific days. I have to then use some technical
eruptions.
Yeah. They were like volcanoes. There were chemicals coming out of the ground on very limited time of them, like explosions were going on down in the rubble. And we're talking about, I have to give you some chemical names: styrene, benzene, toluene, and some very strange chemical called 1,3-diphenylpropane, which has never been observed after conventional fires. Why should it take 3 months to put out these fires and all the fires? Why should it take 3 months? Something was happening in ground zero, which is beyond the official story.
One, the FBI special agent I spoke to said that she says the continued doubting of what happened is unfair to the families and friends and belittles those who lost their lives on 9/11 and obscures the real story of what happened.
Don't think that the family and friends deserve to have a real investigation of what happened.
She doesn't, no.
She doesn't. Don't you think that it would be fair to the family and friends to have an investigation?
Well, I'm asking what she says. She says she felt.
Yeah, but this is a very personal thing.
It was personal to her. Someone who's gathered up body parts of people who have been killed there. She felt quite hurt about the fact that you and others continue to question whether people actually on that airline were killed there.
Of course they were killed. Of course they were killed.
So earlier you seemed to be suggesting the airliner didn't crash at the Pentagon.
Of course, people were killed.
Quite clear, but
Of course, people were killed.
right.
And we are talking about that this crime was never investigated. And you may have your own opinion, but I think that we honor these people who were murdered best by carrying out a criminal investigation and persecuting the perpetrators.
Do you think by doing what you do, you take presumably what you're saying is a gross crime? Do you think you're taking a personal risk yourself by coming up with doing the work you're doing?
I have no way back. If you fight, you might lose. But if you don't fight, you have lost.
And you'll keep fighting?
I have no way back. I have 6 grandchildren. And what is going on here, in my opinion, is our very civilization which is at stake. There is no way that our civilization can continue without facing these unsolved questions of 9/11.
So
I think this is very serious. I'm talking about all the things you love. I'm talking about democracy. I'm talking about welfare. I'm talking about the elderly. I'm talking about the children. I'm talking about economy. I'm talking about environment. I'm talking about the very future of our Western society and our civilization. And I'm very concerned, and I think there is no way our children can expect a future like ours unless we face the unsolved questions of 9/11.
Okay, cut.
Do you have any children?
I do, yeah.
Children.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
That's why we're here today.
I would always look to desperately in search of the truth in every story I ever do. That's the only question.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. To sign a release form.
So what do you sign?
What do I sign? I sign up to the charter, the BBC's charter and the Ofcom. The crucial point of what you're agreeing to is that it is an edited programme. You need to understand it's an edited programme because it's a BBC 2 programme, and it is a programme about 9/11 and the theories about it. Okay.
Or translate your constitution and you waive irrevocably any moral rights you may have in them?
We have the point is that we have the copyright in the interview because we broadcast it because we have to be able to broadcast it to we give it to other people. It's a programme that's made by the BBC and is sold worldwide. It goes out worldwide.
Yeah. But you have
So we have to have the copyright to be able to do that. That's what it says.
You have your copyright of your own footage.
That's what it's saying, yes.
And you don't have the copyright of our
Well,
footage.
I'm not taking that tape, am I? I'm using my tape, yes.
Okay. But maybe that should be specified.
No, you don't need to specify. Well, you can add a note, but it's clearly talking about our interview.
No, it's talking about...
And contribution is clearly the tape that I've got. I can't take your tape because you haven't given it to me or you won't give it to me. It doesn't, and it's going to be exactly the same anyway. But if you want to make that point, it's perfectly fine because it won't make any difference at all. Because clearly it's about talking about the interview you gave me on record. And to be clear while you're filming us as well, I wouldn't talk about anything off the record and wouldn't normally have people filming while I'm talking about things that are off the record. So that's absolutely clear again. Maybe state it, yes, however you want to. Do you want to do that first and do you want to scan that or I can fax it to you from London? Or going to give you a copy of that as it is, and then I'll send you I'll fax you the site.
I think I'll add the thing about your footage, your tape, so your contributions. You signed to the BBC the copyright to and all the rights in your contributions. But is that really true that this is the footage? This is the tape actually in your machine?
Yes, tape in my machine. Yeah. The interview you gave.
Why is it then your contributions?
It's just it's using it as a phrase to describe how you've contributed to the program. So it's saying. And seeing as we work in the broadcast media, your contribution has to be in the broadcast medium, and that is tape. I can't really see any other explanation for it.
Is footage an English word? Or is it American? Can I write the copyright to your footage?
Recorded by the BBC.
Yeah. Facts. I only have facts.
Okay.
You can.
I can scan it and
Scan it and send me a PDF.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.